Welcome, Wrestle Buddies, to the Wrestle Body podcast. I am your host, Andy, and today we've got a nice little triple threat for you. I am joined by Nick. How are we doing, Nicholas?
I'm very good, sir. Fantastic show yesterday. Really good mood.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. And then we've got scraping the bottom of the barrel with Jimmy being away. We've got Zane. Hello,
Zane. I'm doing good too. Thanks for asking.
I never
Sorry
asked.
for the poor lighting. Yeah, I know. That's the sarcasm. You know what? I actually don't feel bad for doing your dad thing on you. Like, I'm glad I came as your dad in the chat.
I love you really, mate. I love you really. All right, then, guys, let's get started anyway. We've got a lot to get through. SummerSlam, what an event. Straight away off the bat, guys, I'm going to go to you because I've seen this a lot today, and a lot of people have messaged me asking, what was your top 3 moments during the pay-per-view last night, Nick?
In order or in no particular order?
Doesn't matter which order.
Bayley, Io, Dakota, by far. It was really good to see the 3 of them. Brock destroying the ring with a tractor, because that's a sentence I never thought I'd say in my entire life. And probably, I don't know if anyone agreed with that, but I really enjoyed the Riddle Seth spot in the middle. I thought that was really good for Riddle. I thought it helped build him up as the I'm not going to take shit babyface. And Seth did what Seth was supposed to do in that situation. So I really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Zane?
Yeah, I think my first 2 are going to be the same. Like, number 1, Bayley returning and a new faction forming. I feel like that sets up a lot of things for the future. And as a moment itself, it was great. Brock, I think not just this, but I think Brock throughout the entire match coming in with the tractor, starting the match off with the jump from the tractor and everything. And third, I feel like Edge's return. Bit underrated. I feel like not a lot of people are talking about it, but I still enjoyed it because, again, it's like bias because Edge is my favorite wrestler of all time. So anytime I see him anywhere near the ring, I really pop. So yeah, it was a nice, lovely moment seeing short-haired Edge coming back.
Okay, well, mine, guys, was I think the first 2 is same as shut up. I think the same as everybody. I think it was the first 2, Bayley and Brock in the main event. But my third one was the cash-in attempt. I thought it was so well done.
Yeah.
And it added to that match. But I was thinking when I seen 30 come out, I thought, oh no, it could ruin this match out because of how good the match actually was. Yeah. But it really did kind of thingy to it. And I like the fact that it wasn't just here he is, cash it in and stuff. For me, going forward now, for the fact that Brock come out and slammed him down and took him out the match and stuff like that, and he didn't get to do his cash in, it kind of cements the fact of you're not going to have an easy cash in here, Theory. You're going to have to work for this, you know what I mean? And I really like that. That was my third thing, I think, on that.
No, but I like that.
I suppose there's no better place to start than with the Raw Women's Championship match, Bianca Belair versus Becky. They put on an absolute clinic. Yeah. Awesome match. Some of the transitions and the power moves by Bianca Belair, it's almost like Becky's working with a male talent because she's just got that much strength and she can do things. But also Becky with some of the great chain wrestling. It was brilliant, wasn't it, Nick?
Oh, it was fantastic. Like I didn't know if they were going to be able to top the WrestleMania match, but I really think they did. The emotion that went into this match, you could see it on Becky's face, the struggle throughout the entire match that she was so desperate to win. And then the eventual crap, she's better than me at the end of it after she'd lost was just, it was sublime. Like, I haven't watched a women's match that was that enjoyable since WrestleMania. Like, at all. The wrestling that went into it was so, the little touches they did with each other through the transitions and the little exchanges through counterpoints, it takes years to learn that. I mean, Becky's been around for a while, but Bianca's not, and she's already got it already. That girl is going to go so far.
Yeah, she really is. And saying it was, I think Bianca actually looked like a star here for a change, didn't she?
Yeah, she definitely did. But again, not to train on anyone's parade, I really enjoyed the match. But this is a theory I feel like Nick stole off someone because he doesn't come up with any original theories himself. The theory that Bianca should have beaten Becky in less than 26 seconds. I would have been really behind that. If that had happened, I think that would have made Bianca an even bigger star. I feel like a star-making moment for her was against Sasha Banks at last year's Mania or against even Becky at this year's Mania. I feel like even after the match, which we're going to get to what happened. I feel like there wasn't any time for Bianca to really show the star she is, but I feel like her wrestling did the talking in this match. And I genuinely enjoyed the match, even though it wasn't the way I wanted it to go, which was Nick's original story in theory. But still, I really loved it.
I did not steal that theory.
You did from Jimmy.
No, I did not steal that theory from Jimmy. Right? Jimmy and I discussed it together.
Oh, there he is. Now he's trying to be cool by association, Zane.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, he definitely stole that theory.
Did you kiss your mother with that lion mouth, Nicholas?
Yes, I do, and she's very grateful.
So do I.
But no, I you know what, mate? I agree with you. They probably could have been squashed. But the one thing straight away that I've got here on my notes about this whole pay-per-view was the fact that it was all the matches got enough time to shine. All the matches got enough time, and you know sometimes WWE gets a hard thing, doesn't it, Nick, about not giving enough time for each individual match and stuff. But I thought like last night, they did give everybody more than enough time to get in the moves, get in the thing, and tell the stories that they wanted to do.
Oh yeah, I mean the Street Profits versus the Usos got more than enough time. Sold a great tale. Jeff Jarrett was involved fantastically. Becky and Bianca.
The thing is, though, can I just ask you something? Sorry to cut you off, but do we actually know the reason why Jeff Jarrett was there yet, or is it still?
Yeah. I think the answer is Tennessee.
Yeah.
I think the answer now is just Tennessee.
Let me ask you a question on that one. Do you think that was a Vince call before he went?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I really do. I've got a feeling Triple H would have picked somebody who was more integral to the storyline. Or could have been more integral to the storyline.
Here's the thing. I have a question. Like, see, doesn't it bury the entire referee division because they're like, oh, the last time none of the referees kind of got the 3 count, so we're going to bring in someone who's actually done a better job than the referees, and they bring in someone who isn't a referee. So they're like,
he did start his career. Jeff Jarrett did start his career as a referee when he was working for his dad.
It's like compared to Charles Robinson and all the guys who've got in the back who are like professionals at this, have been doing this for decades. And they're like, no, you guys aren't good at your job. Let us bring in a Hall of Famer who's better at your job than you guys.
I think the one thing that made me laugh was Jeff Jarrett on SmackDown when he said, "I have one job and one job only, and that's to make the 3 counts." And it's like, you don't, mate. You have a number of jobs there. You know
you've got to count to 5 when they're in the ropes. You've got to EQ them. You've got to make check.
Well, what happens if someone gets caught outside the ring here? You're not going to count to 10. You're just going to count to 3 and then go, "That's all. That's my pay grade," and get off again. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, it must have been a Vince call because even now, after the fact, I'm still.
It was just. It didn't really make any sense.
Hey, Ashley Pie.
Yeah, that's not me, by the way.
Ashton.
I know, it's my son.
Yeah.
No guitar shot disappointing you. Jim, do you know why Jeff Jarrett was there? Because even after the fact, we can't still figure out what was the point of having him in that match.
It should have been a guitar shot.
Jimmy, if you want to say something, get on the podcast. Don't just stay in the chat like a
you shut up.
He is either driving or flying. I'm amazed he can text at all.
Oh, he is. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I apologize.
I don't know how he got to SummerSlam. So
you leave the royalty alone. It's Rip King, and you're just a ball bag.
You know what? I'll take the ball bag.
Maurice had a ball bag.
See, look, even my spawn knows. He's literally just in Nashville. Are you going to the thingy tonight, Jim, to Ric Flair's death?
I think he is.
Yeah, I think he is going there, isn't he?
Hey, $30 for a funeral entrance isn't that expensive.
No, it's not too bad, is it? Oh.
Did you guys get a chance to watch the roast, though? The Jericho comment made.
Don't tell me anything. I'm watching it tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
Okay, it's great. I
think oh yeah, baby. Do you have your flowers to put on the body? I thought he could have got Undertaker in because then he could have got a free body bag as well, I suppose.
Not making a coffin match, just go the whole hog.
Yeah, why not? Might as well,
Alex is probably going insane by now. I think we should stay on the topics he's given us.
Right, let's go back then. So we'll go so at the end of this one, obviously, Bianca Belair wins. Then a little bit of a back and forth between her and Becky, hug it out and stuff. And then we see Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky, is it now?
Sky. It is Io Sky, even though they didn't have time to change the Titantron.
Yeah, and even though Io is spelled differently now as well, isn't it?
Yes, it's got a Y in it.
What was it, a botch by Michael Cole, or was it kind of like they messed up the Titantron? Because at the moment I felt like it was a botch by Michael Cole, because he
they've changed their name to Io Sky. They've spelled EOIYO. But she's the genius of the skies, so it's not that bad changing it to Io Sky.
I actually think it's better. And more memorable. Fan of it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Jimmy said he basically got a ticket for free with a StarCast ticket, so they must be giving away. They mustn't have done well with the sales, so they're just giving the tickets out. Ashton says there is a good film called Main Event, guys. Check it out. With Keith Lee in it. It's quite good. Quite good. Me and Ashton watched it last night.
I'll have a look.
Yeah, it was really good.
It also
on
have
Netflix.
Leo Rush in it. Leo Rush is the kid, right?
Yeah.
God, that's it. Who's the baddie in it? General Aziz, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh, I'm gonna have to
really, really good. You'll have to check it out. But yeah, we got the so the three guys come in. We have Bayley, Io Shirai, and Dakota Kai. Obviously starting a new faction. Love this. Love the fact that they're doing this, Nick. And made up with this. The only thing I've got with this is, historically for me personally, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, is when we have one faction without a rival faction, it doesn't ever seem to work well.
It doesn't, but if you take it into the case, if you go back to, say, The Rock versus Evil DX, it worked really, really well. Back during the McMahon Helmsley era, but that was tied into the whole Stephanie and Triple H running the company, ironically, in storyline back then. But I don't know. I think this could work really well. I think this is a chance to build Bianca up as an all-conquering babyface that has to overcome the odds time and time again. And I think part of the reason there's a faction there is because Becky's going to remain in Bianca's corner. And then it's at least going to be a 2-on-1 situation. And they might add somebody else in later on down the line. But I'm really happy for Bayley. Like, absolutely over the moon for her. I love Bayley. She's a fantastic wrestler. I'm glad they didn't go back to the hugger gimmick and they kept her as ding dong, hello, Bayley. To see Dakota Kai back in the company after she was released a couple of months ago is fantastic. Thank you, Triple H. That girl's an amazing wrestler. And Io Shirai is arguably the best Japanese-born wrestler of the last 15 years.
I have a theory.
I include men in that.
What about Asuka?
No, she's better than Asuka. You watch Io, Asuka. I think Asuka's fantastic, but if you watch Io's movements in the ring, her timing is so far ahead of everybody else, it's ridiculous.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Zane, you look at the do you think this faction needs a name? That's probably my next question. Do you feel like this faction needs a name? And if so, what would you call them?
Ding dong, hello. I feel like, but I mean, I kind of have a theory. Like you mentioned, like faction warfare, and I feel like it's gonna be 3-on-3, and Becky's not gonna stay on Bianca's side. It's like it's a bit far-fetched, but I feel like it's gonna Banks and Naomi are coming back, and they kind of mesh well with Bianca Belair, because then you have Bianca, Banks, and Naomi, and they're taking on the team of Bayley, Io Shirai, and Io Sky. Sorry, my bad, and Dakota Kai. So I feel like that, like if Banks and Naomi come back, I feel like this is the perfect time, and I feel like the 3-on-3. This is kind of setting up for the return. Have you guys lost me, or can you still hear me?
No, we got you. I was just listening.
You're actually saying something with sense, so we're just listening.
Yeah, we're listening. You're just not used to it, are you? You're used to us like jumping on you straight away.
Yeah.
No, it's a good idea. It's a good point, that Zane. I don't know if Sasha's going to come back, though. I know there's a lot of rumors that Triple H is thinking of bringing her back in, but whether she'll want to is a different kettle of fish, because she seems to be making quite a lot of money just taking independent bookings at $30,000 a go.
Yeah.
But Johnny Ace is gone, and he was the issue, kind of. So
very true. Very true.
All right. Would you add to this faction, Zane, or would you leave it as it is?
A mega faction, why not?
Okay. Would you add any males into it, or would you keep it as an all-female faction?
Yeah, but he's
add some. Shut up and be serious. What I mean by that is add some males into the faction, but still have Bayley as the leader. Yeah.
You know who would work well? Dolph Ziggler would. Sorry, Nick.
No, that's fine. One of the two names I was going to say. Theory would work really well if he wasn't so embroiled with the Money in the Bank right now. I think he'd fit Bayley's character quite well. They play off each other, but I think you leave it as it is. I've always said since the NWO was created, 3 is the sweet number for most factions. Yeah. If you try and add any more members to it, it dilutes the feel, and because that way you've got a single star and a tag team.
I always think as well, though, as I said before, and I really, really do stand by it, is the fact that for any good faction to work, there needs a good foe. Like with the X had the Nation, NWO had WCW at first when it was working well, so you had somebody to go against there. If you look at, we had Evolution, DX come back for a bit, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? There's always...
Well, look at New Japan. Everyone's in a faction. And everybody's feuding with one faction is always feuding with another faction because it keeps everybody busy.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? So, Seth Rollins could be a good one. Yeah, could be, mate. Really could. Yeah. Well, Seth would be a good one to get him involved.
But the issue is that if you want to keep Bayley as a leader, then you can't have any of the top guys in the faction as well. Because I'd put in a mid-card guy, but Seth Rollins is a good shout, actually, now that I think of it.
Yeah.
Seth would fit. The Drip God would fit well with Bayley's heel character. If Bayley hasn't changed her heel character at all.
Yeah, he's going to go against his wife.
Right. Okay, guys, we'll move on from that then. In our second match of the night, we had Logan Paul versus The Miz. What a match. And you know what? Was really good. Simmy's just said Ricochet maybe for that as well. It's a good shout, Jim.
No one cares about Ricochet.
But do you know what, Logan Paul? Bravo to him, right? I thought he was really good saying I was made up with him. And what else I noticed as well is everyone says if wrestling fans don't want it, they won't take it, right? But I disagree with that massively because during this match during this match, what's his name? The crowd weren't behind Logan Paul at all. But as the match went on and the match, went through the gears, they got behind him, didn't they?
Yeah. And the thing is, I feel like Logan, even outside of wrestling, he doesn't deserve the hate he's getting. Because I know the incident that happened in Japan and everything, everyone thinks he's a tool. But that person is genuinely talented. He stepped in the world of podcasting. He's done a recent series where he's selling NFTs that he's captured pictures. And he kind of does a podcast where he explains the art behind those pictures. And it's all amazing. That guy is truly passionate. And winning a crowd over like that is something that is truly genuine because with guys like Cody Rhodes couldn't do it. Now, granted, that was a different audience, but Logan Paul is kind of universally hated at this point. And for him to kind of turn the tide on everyone and prove that he can hang in the ring with one of the most reliable wrestlers out there. And he proved his own. He kind of outshined The Miz. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
No, it's kind of a case of perfect time, perfect place, perfect opponent. I said on the podcast the other week, Logan is so universally hated. His athleticism and his ability in the ring is what was going to have to get him over. And that's exactly what he proved last night. It's exactly what he proved last night. If he keeps at this, he will become an amazing wrestler. He was throwing his shots. He was throwing his shots in stiff. Moonsaults were crisp. That frog splash onto the table was insane. It was pinpoint accurate. That was like watching Seth Rollins do a frog splash. And Miz is the safest pair of hands they've got in WWE. But he's also
Happy Corbin.
He's also not I agree with that. He's also not the best person at making people look like stars. When Miz doesn't want to, he won't. But Logan Paul made himself look like a star last night.
Yeah,
he did it against all odds. And I think you have to give credit where credit is due. That guy is an athletic freak and deserves all the credit in the world.
If it weren't for Lesnar and Reigns at the end, I feel like this would have been my personal match of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, I give you that.
This was so good. So Ashton says Logan Paul has some really good potential. Drew said Logan Paul is amazing. Yeah, he really was. If Logan Paul was to do this full time, he would be a big deal. Of course he was. I still think he's going to be a big deal, Jim. I think he's just really, really gone well with it. Ashton said with his muscular physique, he moves really good for how big he is. He's a little bit like Baron Corbin, the way he moves so well, and you can see he has the passion of wrestling.
Yeah,
that's
a very good point.
Well in some.
Very good point, Ashton.
Well, we'll move on to the next one. We had the Bobbles versus Theory. Do you know how many matches Theory's lost since he's won Money in the Bank, Zane? In a row?
Eight
in a row.
Yeah, you gotta knock them down to build them back up, so that eventual cash-in win seems more surprising.
See, at first I was kind of against the idea of him consistently losing these matches, but like then I was like, okay, maybe when the shock factor would be higher when he cashes in and actually wins. And at this point, Theory's like feuding with everyone: McAfee, Lashley, AJ Styles, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. Like, there's going to be less people on the roster he's not feuding with. So I feel like this is all just priming him up for when he wins that championship. These are all his upcoming feuds.
Yeah. I agree. Do you know what? Sorry, just to butt in, Zane. Jim, just to ask you a question, mate, and I'll give you time to answer it. With the likes of Brock Lesnar and, Roman Reigns to an extent being a part-time champion, could you see someone like a Logan Paul ever winning a title? Go on,
You don't need to answer that, Jim. You don't need to answer that, Jim. I'll answer that for you. Definitely Logan can be a champion, I feel like. With the United States see, not the top champion, maybe. United States Championship, definitely.
Right. It's a bit of an unpopular idea, but I think they should put the IC title on him.
Right now?
As soon as possible. The IC Championship has been floundering for years now. Thank God it's on Gunther. Maybe he'll bring some prominence back to it.
He's not going to beat Gunther.
No, he doesn't have to beat Gunther. Ricochet can beat Gunther, and then Logan Paul can beat Ricochet.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jim. Right, guys, so let's move back onto Bobbles versus Austin Theory. Obviously, as we said, we know it's been a Vince thing for a while. It's been a WWE thing for a long time. Take a lot of losses before you think. Bobby Lashley, his opponent last night, a prime example of that, was losing a lot of matches, was in a really bad spot, and then he kind of got through it, didn't he? But yeah, Bobby Lashley got the win for this. I like the final spot on this. It was really, really good. And then that was it. We move on. So... hurt lock, and we got the win. But next match, we'll move on to Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. Wasn't as good as his WrestleMania match, was it, Zane?
No, but to be honest, I don't really care. Like, I enjoyed the build, I enjoyed the entrance, I enjoyed the choir singing by mascot. Like, that was the moment I'm like, Pat McAfee is over.
Oh, no.
I feel like the most over guy on the roster is Pat McAfee. He got an amazing reaction. He had the choir singing by mascot, and I was genuinely laughing. Like, he's a guy who can make me laugh, like unironically laugh. Like, his promos are so good. So I didn't care if the match was that good, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless because the build was so much good. All it needed was the perfect winner, and it had that. So
yeah, I get you. What's your thoughts on this match, Nick?
I love the match.
Pat McAfee just proved he's one of the best sports entertainers in the world. Not wrestlers, but sports entertainers. Everything he did last night had a point to it. I always complain about wasted motion in wrestling matches, people doing moves for the sake of doing moves. Every single move that he did last night had a point to it. He was trying to outdo Corbin. Every time Corbin hit him with something, I'm going to hit you with something better. And then he beat him with the, for lack of a better term, Panama roll-up.
Panama concept flip.
The one thing that I didn't like in this match, though, is somebody said before the match, you've seen a couple of places about some of the holds, rest holds and stuff, and we did see them in this match, and I was kind of a little bit like,
I kind of expected Corbin to drop rest holds in, though, so he can kind of whisper in McAfee's ear, right, we're going to do this, and this.
Yes. Yeah.
I know.
No, I just didn't think the chemistry was there. And to be honest, I don't know whether that's Corbin or if Theory done a better job against them or what. It just seemed like this one just wasn't.
Well, Corbin's a safe guy. I feel like he kept him safe. Like, Corbin is a really good guy. He has that finesse in him. But his previous two matches were with Adam Cole and Theory, so it's kind of hard to compete with that.
But it's not just that. I think there's a lot of there's a long-standing personal relationship between Corbin and Pat McAfee. And sometimes the best of friends don't necessarily make the best of enemies in a wrestling ring. Just because you have history and you get on exceptionally well doesn't equal instant chemistry in the ring. And I will agree with you, there was something a little bit off by some of the exchanges. But I just love watching Pat do what Pat does. When it comes down to it, the entrances are always good. It's always loads of fun. You know what spots he's going to hit, but it's just pleasant to see if he tries to hit them and hits them well.
And Andy, if you and I ever get inside a wrestling ring, I'd beat the shit out of you.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
It's in kayfabe. In kayfabe, I would.
Yeah,
like I would shoot on you. I would shoot.
In real life, I will break your neck in seconds.
Yeah, I would tie you up like a pretzel.
Yeah,
I'll use a steel chair.
Gonna say it's on Pat. Yeah, it could have been Jimmy. Maybe just he didn't have the same energy as what he had when he was at.
He was struggling with the top rope stops as well. Like he was he stumbled a bit. Like when he did the dive up to the top rope, Corbin had to hold him up for a while.
He almost fell backwards.
Yeah, he would. He would.
He would, Ashton. You're right.
Yeah, he would. Not even gonna argue with that.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next match then. The Judgment Day non-disqualification. The Mysterios took the win, and Edge popped out from nowhere. I love Edge. I'm a big Edge fan. As you always remember in the old days, I used to have Edge just standing in the background smiling at everyone.
That was weird. That was really weird. But I'm glad you changed your background.
I weren't that really kind of bothered. And I think it's because of the Judgment Day. I don't think I'm really that fussed about them.
I think this making Finn Balor the head of a heel stable is a great idea. Finn, if you watched any of his New Japan work, Finn Balor is an amazing heel and he's an amazing stable leader. But I feel one of the problems with Edge has only been gone for like a month. So it wasn't like it was a kayfabe injury. So it wasn't like it was an, oh my God, Edge is back moment. It was just, oh, Edge is back. And the weird thing for me is the apparent reason he left Judgment Day was he had creative differences because he didn't want to do all the supernatural bollocks. But he's come back as Vampire Edge.
Yeah.
Which confuses me greatly.
I know. I want to swap his old theme music back. I love his old music. I don't like the new stuff. Yeah.
No, he needs on this day. I see clearly that's Edge's music.
Yeah, that's Angus.
But it's like maybe it was like a one-time thing. He's still gonna use the other song. Like I don't remember what the other song was from the same album. Not from the same album, from the same artist, Alter Bridge. But
Judgment Day is still using that.
Oh, they do. Oh, I thought, Maybe I feel like he doesn't want to go back to. Maybe he doesn't want to go back to Metalingus then. Like he wants to.
I hope he does.
So do I. That's Edge's tune. It's like Diamond Dallas Page without Self High Five. It's just not the same thing.
Like us with the UK, I just think we need to hear that when he comes to Clash of the Castle.
Yeah, you want to hear that flipping drum roll at the beginning.
What's he saying here? Andy versus saying Big Show versus Regal Mayweather. Even with one goddamn hand there. I'd work him like a puppet. Yeah.
I'll gladly jerk you off.
He wouldn't even charge me. But yeah, what do we feel for this? Because Zayn just come back, but I don't really apart from him chasing them off there, it's kind of like, was he just going to pick them off one by one? Is he going to start another faction? What do we think we see here, Nick?
I mean,
my guess is this eventually leads to Balor versus Edge at Clash at the Castle. I think Becky, Finn, and Drew all have to be in big matches at Clash at the Castle. They're the home ground representatives, and Sheamus. They're the home ground representatives. So I think the whole plan to get to Clash at the Castle, I have absolutely no clue what they're going to do. Whether they're going to have Edge go through Priest first, or whether he's just going to take him on in handicap matches, whether he's going to ally himself with Rey Mysterio for the time being, which I think you get an interesting nostalgia pop because they used to be tag team champions, but I don't see that working from a storyline perspective. It just doesn't, not with Edge's really scary guy, vampire character. Anyway,
and you know what's sad is, you know what I'm like. I always have a theory over something or kind of what's going to happen. But with this one, Zane, I don't really care enough. Do you know what I mean? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like Edge is coming back because they need a top baby face on Raw. Like, who else do they have? Yeah, definitely, I could. But yeah, I'm like, they need a top baby face on Raw. Like, Cody's gone. Who else is there? Ezekiel isn't a top guy right now. Riddle is there, but he's already feuding with Rollins. So he's kind of there to fill that top spot because I feel like sooner or later, we're gonna get that Balor versus Edge match. And it's kind of to elevate Balor. I don't know if you can elevate a guy at the age of 40, but still, like, give him a win because Balor is one of those guys I can genuinely see, and this might come as a surprise, I can see him being the world champion within a couple of years. Like, he just needs that sudden push. Like, he can get that by beating Edge. And if you have that, you have a superstar, you have a main event level caliber guy who can possibly take the title in a few years' time.
I think if it had been up to Triple H, Finn would have already been Universal WWE Champion before now, since the first win. I know that Vince instantly labelled him as injury prone because he got hurt the night he won the title, and that's why he's never had a shot again. But I think it was up to Triple H. Finn would have already been number one contender a couple of times.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll move on. Oh, sorry, go on, Zane.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, like, which guys on the roster do you feel like you personally would think that could be the top champions, like realistic could be the top champions, but is an unpopular opinion?
AJ, Finn, Edge,
Sheamus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Sheamus as well. Yeah, I want to see it. I want him because he's the guy who gives it his all. He gives it his all. I feel like, to be honest, McIntyre's going to take the title of Roman. Like, I genuinely feel Drew's going to beat Roman in Flash. Because that's, like, we'll get to that as well later in the podcast, but it's a genuine possibility.
Yeah. Kevin Owens going to be a top player. I'd love to see Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn would be the one for me. It'd just be unbelievable tech as if he could get hold of the belt.
Sami Zayn's the best babyface in wrestling when he's given a chance. Like, there is no more believable babyface than Sami Zayn. I still think his match with Nakamura, his farewell match from NXT, is the best NXT match that was ever put on. Yeah. And it's one of the best matches WWE have put on in the last 10 years. Like, and that is 90% was down to Sami Zayn.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Well, we as well. Like, give him any role. He's that reliable guy right now in WWE. So just slot him anywhere, he's going to perform.
So, as you know what, but you're not wrong. Don't think we'll get that again just yet, Jim. We might do, but it'd be good if we did. But we'll move on to the tag team match, as we said before. Don't know why Jeff Jarrett was there. Don't even want to discuss him. Don't see the point. He didn't really do anything apart from what a normal ref would do. And we don't sit here discussing Charles Robinson every week, so we're not going to do the same with Jeff either.
No point.
Okay, but all in all, it was a solid match. As we always say, we say it week in, week out, Nick. Usos don't have a bad match.
No.
And this was the case again here. Looked like towards the end there that we were going to get a bit of a turn from Dawkins, from Montez Ford, but we don't know where we're up to with that. Might still be a little bit of a slow burner. What did you think of the match and what did you think of the result?
Honestly, I think the match, the last PLE, was better than this one. But I still think it was a solid back and forth match, and they told a better story this time. The desperation in the Street Profits as the match went on, the desperation of Montez Ford's face, the irritation that he couldn't put them away, especially after the frog splash when he freaked out on Jeff Jarrett, was a phenomenal bit of storytelling, and I'm hoping it really leads to somewhere. I don't necessarily want to see the Street Profits split up, but I think if they do split them up, this is a good way to start that angle. Because putting a little bit of grit into Montez Ford is the only thing his character really needs. And the only thing to worry for me is, because this is the Usos would have been fine even if they'd lost the belts. But there was realistically no chance in that happening while Roman was keeping the title because the bloodline needs to remain strong. The match itself, I think, under-delivered, if I'm honest, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, do you know what, Jim's just made a good point there that the first match was a classic. It's going to be hard to go past that saying. Wayne, do you think this is the time for them to go now, to split up Street Profits? They're not going to get near the title. Not much point in keeping them together, is there?
Yeah. See, here's the thing. Like, I feel like you can give that grit or that edge to Montez Ford without breaking the streak. Vince is gone. You don't have that McMahon mentality anymore that for a guy to be given a singles push, you need to break him off with his partner. You can have that thing going on. You can have Montez Ford succeeding as a singles wrestler, even in the mid card. Like, let's say you strap the US title on him in a bit. Like, Angelo Dawkins isn't going to get lost in the shuffle. He's that kind of guy. He's kind of like Big E in that sense, because when Kofi was doing his WWE Championship title chase, Big E was in the background, and Big E was over himself. Like, granted, he had Xavier Woods with him, but when you have a guy like Angelo Dawkins with the charisma of Angelo Dawkins, I feel like he can support Montez Ford with his singles run. You don't need to break him off. And even if you break him off, if you break, running the risk of dropping Angelo Dawkins in there somewhere, and he doesn't deserve that. He deserves better than that.
No.
So I'm vehemently against the idea of the Street Profits breaking up. Like, if you even if you need to give Montez Ford a singles run, you can do it without breaking up the team.
Oh yeah, you can. But like you said, Vince McMahon's mentality, it's been known for years, was he believes tag teams were only there to create a single star. Triple H doesn't necessarily follow that same ethos. There's a very good chance that Triple H believes in tag team wrestling and wants it to succeed, because every other company on the planet, with the exception of New Japan, does a really good job with its tag team division.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at AEW, I hate to bring them up, but you look at AEW's tag team division, it's phenomenal. It's not necessarily the best booked thing, but it's a phenomenal division. Do you really think that other than the Street Profits, there's another team for the Usos to go against now?
Like, I don't know, the New Day probably. Big E's injured right now, but like, no one's on Raw. So
the only team, sorry to interrupt, the only team I think that they're going to manage with now is the Viking Raiders. But the Viking Raiders are heels.
And no one cares about the Viking Raiders, to be honest.
I was a big fan of Hanson and Rowe when they were War Machine. I've met them twice. They're really nice fellas. They're a fantastic team. But they have been all over the place since they got booked in WWE. But they're the only team that I can see as a challenge for the Usos now. Like, without the Street Profits, there's no division. You got 4 teams between 3 shows.
Yeah, but I mean, question to you then. Like, do you feel like WWE has a ceiling? Like, can they bring up guys from NXT, like grizzled young veterans? Let's say they've spent their fair due.
Don't you mean NXT. The dyad? Don't you mean the dyad?
Oh, I absolutely forgot about that. I forgot about that. What other tag teams do you have? You have Pretty Deadly. Like, I feel like they have their fair share to spend in NXT right now. So yeah, WWE does have a tag team ceiling as compared to AEW. So I feel like Triple H is going to kind of focus on building that division up and feed more teams to the Usos before their eventual demise to, I don't know, maybe RK Bro or something.
I think the biggest thing you're going to see from Triple H is more for the fact of you're going to see the mid-cards built up just in general. Yeah. And I feel like that's something that AEW and WWE are guilty of, is the fact that they just don't have a great mid-cards at all.
No. I mean, WWE's mid-card used to be one of the main reasons people tuned into the show, was the Intercontinental title and the US title, especially the IC title, the lineage that goes all the way back with Brett, Mr. Perfect, Shawn, everybody else that held that belt, Razor, Kevin, everyone that held that title. The mid-card needs some serious work. And I agree with you. I think Triple H is going to look at it and go, right, we need to build guys here, because the mid-card is the feeder for the main card. If you don't build main stars in your mid-card division, how's anybody going to believe that anyone from that division has got a chance against the current champion?
You only have to go back as far as Austin when he had in 97, when he was Intercontinental Champion, 96, 97. And then look at Bret Hart, 91, 92, Shawn Michaels, 92, 93. Yeah. You know, they all kinds of had that run with the Intercontinental, but Ultimate Warrior,
but,
you know, where he had the
But the belt has dropped in prestige, like vastly. Like, the Intercontinental Championship does not hold the same value it did 20, 30 years ago.
No, but that's, I think, what Andy's saying is Triple H is going to build the mid-card back up to bring some prestige back to those titles.
Even him himself, Triple H, if you go back to him and The Rock, their feuds over the Intercontinental title were legendary.
That's what helped make the guy. It's what proved.
Yeah, how do you do that, though?
Well,
Do you know what you do, Zane? You book the Intercontinental title matches, though you're booking the main event. That's what you do with it. You make it like at the moment there's too much of this hot shotting for titles.
Yeah,
I think the US title's being done a little bit better recently, but you used to get these full video packages and weeks of build up, and you used to have number one contender matches for the mid card belts. None of that no more.
But don't you remember like
championship contender matches?
Mm-hmm.
There was like a moment of resurgence for the Intercontinental Championship in the mid 2000s, like mid 2010s, when Rollins had the belt, right? And they had a main event star holding the IC title, and still no one cared. They had the IC title main event of the
US. Go back to before that when Miz had the IC title. The IC title meant something when Mike Mizanin held that belt because he made it mean something.
They certainly did, Jim.
When Brock was away, Dolph Ziggler and Miz basically held the show together. When Brock was holding the title hostage and was never there, because every week they booked the main event as the IC title match, and that was the last time the IC title was ever treated seriously in WWE.
I genuinely feel like if you want to make the Intercontinental Champion a genuine threat and you want to add value to that title, bring back Batista and put the belt on him.
Oh,
that's
shut
the
up!
Only way.
Okay, so we'll move on to Liv Morgan.
I will meet you saying I have the power now.
Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan. Really, really good match. Aston says about bringing Jungle Boy and stuff into WWE. We could see it, mate. I know over the weekend the tryouts didn't go very well. There was a lot of injuries and stuff like that, which is making WWE start to lean towards more indie stars again. Which we may see, because I think if they're going to get these athletes, they're probably going to have to drift them in a little bit in between some good indie stars to kind of get it working well. But we'll see. Anyway, go on. Sorry, Nick.
I was going to say they at least need the indie guys there to help build the foundation for those new athlete wrestlers, because you need an experienced hand.
Well, Ronda Rousey versus. Shut up, Zane. Shut up, Zane.
Thanks for that.
I will come to you in a minute, won't I, bog brush head? Right, Ronda Rousey versus Liv Morgan. Really, really good match. I really like the psychology in this match. The only thing that I don't like in this is, and I have wrote it down here, is like how Ronda always has to be booked so powerful. And it just annoyed me a little bit. I like the finish. I like the way they done that, and it protects Ronda, and it also gives Liv the protection a little bit as well. But at the same time, it's like, I don't see the point in this saying, unless they're going to book it in the sense of eventually Liv gets stronger and stronger and then overcomes Ronda, rather than just having this kind of, oh, well, she was lucky to get away with this. And, do you know what I'm saying? He's froze. Yeah, you see what I mean? You're frozen.
No, I'm back. I was saying.
You're not back.
Yeah. Am I? I thought I was back.
You are back now.
Sorry.
And you've got it again. Go on, Nick.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. So, I thought they were building on
I think you're back, Zane.
He's not. He's closed there again. Happy Shark Week, Zane. No, Jim, I like the way Ronda was booked last night. It's not that. It's just the only thing for me is how Liv's booked because of it. And the other thing that I want to, if it becomes the story where Ronda's the big bully and she's so powerful and that, but in the end, Liv Morgan overcomes her, I'm happy with that. I just don't think if you're going to book your champion just to be, then how is anyone ever going to look at Liv and give it any credibility?
Liv shouldn't have been wrestling Ronda. I know they wanted to do the rematch because Ronda had just lost the title, but it should have been somebody else that Liv could have looked stronger against. She could have at least she got no offense in last night. Zero offense. Ronda which was great because Ronda looked really strong. But yeah, Liv didn't give up at any point until the end when apparently she did. But I mean, the only criticism I have of this match is because the Logan Paul Miz match went long, they cut time from Ronda versus Liv, when they probably could have cut time from one of the video packages and given it to this match. But I mean, I enjoyed the match. I like the way Ronda was booked. I do think Liv should have got some more offense in though, because she's the champ, and at the moment she just looks like a champ.
Off the top ropes, it was me. It was fire, wasn't it? Best pay-per-view of the year so far.
Here's
Jimmy
the
says
thing.
it shouldn't. I'm getting to you now. Put your little sausage roll down. Liv shouldn't come to it, overcome her. Don't force Liv. She's in top level. She just isn't top level yet. But then she shouldn't be the champion then. That's the whole thing, though.
I don't know why they didn't
she
just have
shouldn't be
Ronda beat her last night.
Yeah, she shouldn't be the champion, mate. You know what I mean? If she's going to be thingy, you know, as Top Rope says there, it's a process. You have to build top stars, 100%. But what I'm saying is in order to build her, we need to see that progression. And if we're not going to see that progression, then it shouldn't have been booked like that. Because if Ronda's like just overcome her, bump, and then it's like you've got to see that progression in order for Liv to become the top star that, you know, people see that she can be. Right, go on then, hot dog finger. What do you want?
See, I can give you guys an explanation for why Ronda was booked so strongly. They're clearly building, and this is why Becky turned face at the start of the show as well. They're building for Ronda versus Becky at WrestleMania, and that match does not need a title. So, I mean, I understand like Liv should have been booked strong over here, but you have to kind of understand WWE's concerns as well. They want Becky versus Ronda to be as big as possible, and it's not going to have a title match in it. Like, it's not going to have a title involved in it. So to do that, they kind of protected, like, you don't need to protect Becky. She's kind of bulletproof. She can lose all the time, and then she can research any point, any moment in time. With Ronda, it's like she's a special attraction. If she loses to I don't know, an upper mid card, a newly awarded main eventer star, Liv Morgan, then it's going to kind of hurt her credibility and hurt the credibility of the match that is eventually going to take place at WrestleMania.
No. But Zane, why have Liv? I'm the first person to say Liv's not ready. Liv Morgan's not ready to be women's champion. So why did they have her even win? They should have just had Ronda absolutely beat the piss out of her, turn heel in the process, and take the title. Because that's clearly what's going to happen at the next time she defends the title against Ronda. Ronda's going to win. To me, it just seems like they're deliberately delaying Ronda getting the title back by a month because they want to do title changes at Clash of the Castle.
Is Ronda from the UK?
No.
Sorry, just a random shot in the dark.
No. I don't know.
That was such a bitchy comment, you little bitch. There's Ronda from the UK, yeah. And should have been a roll up.
It was a roll up.
Stars while the champs do it beforehand.
Agreed, Jimmy.
I get that, but at the same time, if she got it through a fluke, or you could call it a fluke at Money in the Bank, which is great. Do you know what I mean? But if you're gonna do that, then build it up and kind of have this, this kind of thing of she's gonna go through the thing and build it up and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Liv should have gone through the ringer the same way Austin Theory
totally
is
agree
going
with
through
that.
the ringer.
Fully agree, King. They're doing babyface credibility, character building experiments that live the same way they did with you. And the thing is, though, there's a story there to tell, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? It's probably the story they should have gone down with Nikki AHS, whatever.
ASH.
Yeah, that one. Because she was almost a superhero, and it should have been the story where she found herself and she realised, no, I'm not almost a superhero. I am a superhero. And there was a story to go down there that they just never did. And I just hope they don't either take the belt off Liv, or they start building this story of how she becomes a really solid, dangerous wrestler rather than just this kind of fluky person who wins.
They need to build her like Trish Stratus as opposed to building her like a lucky winner.
Yeah, that's the one. And if you're going to do that, it's kind of like AEW, where it's just we'll get into the belt, and then after that, what then? Because they don't seem to do much with any champion after the fact. No. But we'll move on to our main event anyway, which was just absolutely fantastic, wasn't it? From start to finish. Roman Brock, nobody. Let's all hold our hands up. Nobody wanted to see it again. After WrestleMania, everyone was kind of grunting and stuff like that. Well, how lucky was I? And I'm sure all the rest of you think is the fact that he done it again, Zane.
Yeah.
Oh God. Hello.
Yeah. What were you saying?
Did you not hear anything I said? Right, Nick,
You
go
said
on, Nick.
you
Zane,
said
just shut up, Zane.
you,
Nick.
you
Nick.
Right. One thing I took away from this match for anything else is I never thought in my life I'd be using the sentence Brock Lesnar destroyed a wrestling ring with a tractor. I, just like everybody else, had no desire to see this match again. It'd been like 11 times that they'd done it now in main events or something daft. And there was no need for it again. And even I said to you before we went on air, I felt in the middle of this match it tapered off a little bit. But I think that's because, as Zane pointed out, it's a last man standing match and they all tend to taper off a bit in the middle. But they've revved it up like for the last 3 quarters of that match were just insane. Like, Paul Heyman deserves all the credit in the world for getting F5 through an announce table.
The thing was, though, I even like the fact of where he hits him with the half of the table and stuff like that was really cool. But the one thing that I'll say is, right, Zane, are you listening to me now? You prick.
I think he's frozen again.
No, he's frozen again.
Yeah.
Right, okay, I'll go back to you once you get better internet. Yeah, Nick, what I was saying there was like Brock Lesnar looked like he was having fun last night. Really looked like he was having so much fun.
No, he really did. I think Brock might be going away for a while now. I've got a feeling Brock's going to go away, and he thought, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out on a bang. And I think Brock was just in a super happy mood when Triple H told him he was going to destroy the ring with a tractor.
Yeah. You know what? It makes me sad, though. I do hope that Brock's at Clash. Do you know what I mean? I really do, because it'd be lovely to see. But
I'd like to see Brock versus Gunther. Brock versus Gunther would be one hell of a fight. And I've wanted to see it for a long time, but it's never going to get booked.
I don't know, because Brock Lesnar is the type of guy who would be interested in something like that, because he'd see Gunther as a physical specimen, do you know what I mean? But, as Jimmy just says there, Brock did not look like the kind of guy who walked out 2 weeks ago. He didn't, Jim. He looked like he was having so much fun. He really did.
Looked like he was having an absolute blast.
It really does. But no, I thought the match was just absolutely spectacular. I don't think they were meant to knock the ring out like they did.
Really? I don't think they were. I
think they were meant to lift it. That's what I mean when it moved. Yeah, I don't think they were meant to move it, but I thought that even added to it.
Yeah, it did, because it was like, Jesus Christ! Michael Cole's reaction was just fantastic for me. And also a little point that I really enjoyed from Cole on the pay-per-view during the Pat McAfee match. Corey Graves turned around and said to him, "You were better when you weren't allowed an opinion." And Michael Cole turned around and said, "Yeah, well, that's changed." And I thought that was a really nice statement from Cole, because he was on form last night. His commentary was great. And I never say that about Michael Cole.
Am I back now?
You're back.
You're back. What you want?
Amazing. Yeah, this is like, okay. Like, if you gonna prompt me like that, how the hell am I gonna speak anything? Okay, I'll just go off the fact that this was probably the best match I've ever seen all year. That tractor spot. I feel like the ring moving kind of added to the awe of that spot, because you first, like, you realize the ring's moving and you're like, wait, and the anticipation slowly builds up. And then when he finally gets that lever on beneath the ring and he starts to lift it, and Roman, like, proud credit to you, like, Roman truly sold that. Like, it's really hard to kind of sell falling down in an already falling ring, because he could have gotten stuck on the ropes, he could have struck his head on the post or anything. But that spot was really clean, and I absolutely enjoyed it. Apart from that, like, unpopular opinion, maybe not that unpopular, I wanted Brock to win. I genuinely wanted Brock to win, because after Drew came out on SmackDown the previous night to stand toe-to-toe with Lesnar, I feel like, wait, I hadn't considered this possibility before. I hadn't considered a Drew versus Brock rematch at Clash. And then I realized that this could be very real. And I, like, because Drew beating Brock could have been good. Like, that could have been a very real possibility. But now, after what Brock did last night, I wouldn't have minded if they put the belts on him. I was actually rooting for him. I felt like Theory was going to take one belt off Roman, and Brock was going to take the other. And, like, that's how they split the belts finally.
Yeah. Okie doke then. Well, let's wrap it all up there, guys. You know, at the moment, I'm really excited for WWE specifically because I just feel like the guys look like they're having fun. You know, it looks like the shackles are being took off, as it were.
Yeah.
And you know, it's only going to be good to see where this all goes in the future. Just before we pop off here, we've got Anthony Monday comes in. Liv, she tapped out to Ronda her feet. Yeah. We did see that, mate. She did tap on the thing. It was good finish, really good. Where do you guys rank SummerSlam for pay-per-view PLEs of this year? Zane, first.
Best pay-per-view of the year. Best show of the year.
Nicholas? Don't come at me with some stupid GCW.
No, I'm not going to mention any GCW shows. They don't have pay-per-views.
Or New Japan crap or whatever.
No, I'm not. I was literally going to say the only pay-per-view that even comes close is AEW Revolution.
Go away.
No, close.
Forbidden Door was better, actually.
I liked Forbidden Door, but this is the best pay-per-view of the year.
Yeah.
As far as spectacle, being sports entertained, matches were given great time. It was shot really well. There wasn't a load of Kevin Dunn in this entire show. There weren't 50 camera cuts a second. Everything was done really tight and clean. Like you know me, I criticize WWE just as equally as I criticize anyone else. There's nothing to criticize about this show. I even understand why they have all the promo packages. It's because on the lower brand of Peacock, they get advert breaks. So they put the promo packages in to fill in for the advert breaks for the Peacock viewers, which makes sense. Everything flowed really well. Great show.
I'd say it was better than WrestleMania, Jim, and the reason I'd say this is I thought the matches all together were better. I thought the matches got more time and they seemed to be a bit better, do you know what I mean?
I think WrestleMania still had the two biggest moments with Cody and Steve, but I think this was a better show all in all.
Yeah. I thought this was the better show.
Plus, like, even the comment, like, this was a show that flew by. Like, this was a show I genuinely sat down and I was sports entertained. I laughed. I genuinely enjoyed some of the spots. And, like, I could turn my brain off and watch this show and still enjoy it.
Yeah. Right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks to everyone who's watched this. It was close, though. It was close, Jim. It was close, mate. But we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of you who are joining us at the moment. We're getting some really good views, and we're really grateful because without you guys watching, it wouldn't be worth having this podcast. So to keep watching, we appreciate every one of you. As you noticed last night, we had Tardy on the watch along. I think it's probably something that the guys will probably look to do. Going forward, is maybe have a few people on each watch along. So if you're a viewer of ours, make sure you keep watching because you never know, you'll be able to jump on the podcast and get involved. Both from me,
Hopefully
Nick, and him. Yeah, but you can't jump on anyway because your friggin' internet's never good enough. Yeah, I think we might start to go. We might start to go fund. We pay for £2 a month. You could give Zane proper internet.
Yeah,
I'd actually love that. Set up a GoFundMe page for that.
Right, guys, from us though, take care. We'll see you again same time next week. But for now, just before I go, actually, Jimmy's Raw review will be back. Tuesday should be a good one. Obviously, Monday should be a good one. Obviously, with the fallout from SummerSlam. Then I'll be back on Thursday with the NXT UK, and also Jim will be back with the AEW Dynamite review as well, and then we'll have some other bits and bobs throughout the week, so keep checking the YouTube pages, keep checking. We've got some fantastic new writers as well, guys, so make sure you go over to WrestleBuddy.com and check out some of the articles that they're writing there. They're churning out some absolute awesome content at the moment. No, shut up, Zane.
It's actually something good, like something good WrestleBuddy put out. Like everything WrestleBuddy puts out is good, but Jimmy's article on the Dream WrestleMania main event, just go and read that. It's actually lovely. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, we love the King. Right, guys. Well, from us though, until next time, take care.